And welcome, everybody, to another episode of This Is... What is this called? I was about to say This Is Us, like the TV show I've been watching. Y'all keeping up with This Is Us? That show is emotional. If you ready to cry, check out This Is Us. Final season, final 2 episodes. I think this week, second to last. Next week, this is going off the rails. This is Tyler is Groce. Welcome. This podcast, I got another guest for you. Their name's Liv. Oh my God, Liv. So I got a girlfriend named Brittany. She's mentioned in the pod. And she has a friend, old friend from way back in the day. And came to visit, came here. Brittany was at work. And so I was not doing anything. So I was like, yeah, I'll hang out with your friend. You know, be a nice host to the great city of Austin. And we started hanging out and we just started talking. And they were just so interesting. Stripper. I mean, that's a lot. But also just an interesting person. She had an interesting life, an interesting story. We talk a lot about stripping and stuff like that. We talk about, you know, like sexuality and what people are and why people go to strip clubs and why I don't like strip clubs. Because they're icky. Not really. Just they're, you know. We get into it. Listen to the pod. It'll be good. So we talk all about that, and it was a really great conversation. And then outside of that, just great hanging out with them. So I really appreciate them coming out and, you know, doing the pod. It was great. And they have an OnlyFans. They have Instagrams. I'm going to put all that in the description or whatever. I believe I think their stage name's Opal. So I think it's something Opal. I should look that up. I'm going to look that up right now. Got it right here. Opal.lilly.onyx. Listen, if that ain't popping, if I ain't making your pants tight right now, I don't know what will. It's a good name. Sexy person. So go check it out. An interesting person. Listen to the episode. Go check out the OnlyFans and the Instagrams and all of that. And yeah, enjoy my conversation with Liv. What's up? Welcome. Yeah, I like this get up.
Thank you.
Where'd you get the bottoms from? Those are dope.
I got these from a place in Salem called Kathmandu to You. It's one of Brittany and my favorite places.
Okay.
We used to go to often.
You know what's so funny is seeing old pictures of Brittany where she was dressing like Abercrombie. Yeah. You know?
Preppy was the style.
Real preppy.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was cute.
Yeah, we lived in a very Mormon town, so.
I didn't know that. Did I not know that?
Yeah, Salem has a lot of Mormons in it.
Whoa.
We had a lot of Mormon friends. So even dressing kind of, I mean, her style was not even as conservative as most of the people that we.
Was it like straight up Mormon, like long skirts and boots and those bonnets?
Some of them, yeah. Some of them not as much. But I did go to a Mormon service once with my best friend at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 3-hour-long service.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They had a service and then Sunday school, and
right.
They had me change a couple different times because I kept putting on stuff that apparently wasn't appropriate for Mormon church. You're not supposed to show your collarbones. You're supposed to wear your hair up. There's all these rules.
Hair up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's all these rules about.
Make sure you're putting the mic close to your mouth. Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, that's probably good.
Like about here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The rule of thumb is a fist.
Great.
That's the rule of thumb, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's good.
So, it's the story.
No collars, no hair up.
Mm-hmm.
Why they make girls have hair, but then they want it up?
Yeah, I think
make up your mind, Mormon.
I think the way that it goes is women are supposed to have long hair, and the only person that's supposed to see them with their hair down is their husband. And your hair is supposed to be up and pulled back and very conservative.
Hair is sexy, though, you know?
It is. It definitely can be.
There's something about a girl with long hair where it's like, I don't know why, but it's sexy.
Because you just
it's just dead skin cells, but it's long.
But you
it's
get
like,
to see more of it. You know, the longer the hair is, the more of them you get to see.
You think that's what it is with femininity? It's like more, bigger, wider hips, or wider hips, bigger boobs, longer hair.
Yeah, and I also think that
big old feet. Oh, love a girl with some big old feet.
Yeah, mine are.
Love a girl.
I don't even know. I definitely know some feet people. Yeah, they're okay.
They're
all right.
proportional.
Well, I mean, I wear like a size 7.5 or 8 for someone being 5'3". I guess they're kind of big, but not big.
I guess.
But anyway, yeah.
How have you been liking Austin?
I love it here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because this is your first time here.
It is.
You've been here for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I've never been anywhere in Texas. I haven't spent much time in the South at all. I know that in general, Texas is pretty conservative, but from what I've seen in Austin so far, it doesn't really feel that way.
No.
Austin's kind of an outlier in that.
I think it's one of these things where it's like we pride ourselves on being the blue dot in a red state.
Yes.
So it's like, I think you're not, there's certainly like conservative people around, but they're more like the suit and tie conservatives, you know?
Yeah.
Like I used to work at like a tech company, and there was like there was this dude next to me. He was like my good friend in the office. He was like, it was just an office friend. And we would talk and we'd hang out and we'd laugh, we'd play chess together, instead of working like on our apps. And then this was right before Trump was getting elected, so all of the Trump stuff before when we thought it was a joke. Yeah. And he would just be like, yeah, man, he's just trying to protect the country. Let's close them borders. Like he was just like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And then I would ask him like 3 questions, and he'd be like, well, just asking him to defend his point. And he just couldn't do it.
And that's how I feel. That's been my experience with pretty much all Trump supporters. There's not a whole lot of reasoning behind it. It's just sort of like fear mongering and people being like, oh, well, he said he's really successful. He's run businesses. He's rich. Like, he's so successful and he got to this point. Like, we should listen to him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's most of them. But then, Trump's happening around here in Austin. And then my friend, he gets elected and everyone's all sad. And then I'm like, well, he is very charismatic. Like, that was I was like, he's very charming on stage.
Like, he is and he isn't, because anytime I listened to any of his rallies, I couldn't even piece together what he was saying.
Yeah,
like,
because you didn't have to. It was all charm. It was all charisma. It was
just, it was like it just reminded me of any dictator speech you've ever seen, where it's just like a lot of
great
emotion and
amazing
and slamming fists and
I want to slam my fist
and getting people riled up and just like collectively coming together, like, oh, this is something we're together in this, and here's the enemy and we're fighting the enemy.
Even you doing an impression of a dictator, I'm like, yeah, what do you want to do?
Yeah,
I'll follow you wherever. What do you want me to do?
I would love to. You know what I would love to do?
What's that?
If I were a dictator, I would dismantle the patriarchy.
Okay, tell me about that. Because how would you do that as a How would you dismantle the patriarchy?
Well,
this idea,
it's
as
it's a paradox. It's a paradox because I would not do it as a dictator. If I was actually going to try to lead people into dismantling the patriarchy, it would be done in a very collective, collaborative kind of way. It would not be like, I'm the only one that gets to have a voice. Like, yeah,
but then you wouldn't get anything done.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe that's why I haven't.
Me and my brother will talk about. Well, he likes to talk about. He's like, I think I could fix the war. Like, just let me be a dictator for like 40 years. Like, that's all I need. I'm gonna kill some people. That's gonna happen. I'm gonna kill off the smart people.
You can't be a dictator without killing people.
That's what I'm saying. You kill off the smart people. You kill off their opponents. Obviously, that's normal,
right?
And then you just start setting it up for when you leave, because that's the thing. He was like, my brother was like, I don't want to be dictator forever. Just in my lifetime, we set up the country right, and then I leave, and then y'all can have the power back. And I don't know.
I guess I'm just personally not really a fan of killing people. That's not really my way of going about things. Well, so I definitely could.
You don't have to kill anybody.
Yeah, but I don't.
You just tell somebody to kill.
I don't even want to do that. I mean, that's not true.
Then you don't want it.
That's not true, because if I did have the power, who I would kill would be the ultra rich. Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg.
But you could also just have them pay you.
Well, I guess if I was just able to dictate them, then I would just, what I would do, well, I'm kind of a socialist, I guess. I don't know if that's really the right classification, but I would take all their money and redistribute it. And actually what I would do is probably take the majority of it, invest it into resources, like renewable resources and green energy and sustainability practices that could actually benefit.
You'd be the dopest dictator.
Right? I would just be
you'd be like Lenin or Chavez. Just everyone loves them.
Yeah. That's my goal. I really just want everybody in the world to have their basic needs met and for everyone to feel safe and provided for. And I think we have more than enough resources on this planet to do that. They're just being hoarded by people and sold for money, for so much money that the people with the most money have an exorbitant amount that's just never even going to be usable in their lifetime. It's just hoarding. It's like, I kind of think of them like dragons.
Sure, yeah.
You know, like they have their hoard and they protect it and they're really hard to kill and there's only a few of them in the whole world, you know? They're like dragons.
Yeah.
So.
They really are. I mean, it's this thing of like, I just read this book. What was the book called? I don't remember. I just read this book. It was called Listen Liberals. That's what it was.
Okay, yeah.
And his whole thing was like, the thing that I got from the book was like how we view how this is specifically about the left and Democrats, how they view the country as a meritocracy. About like if you work hard, if you do your best, if you go to school, get an education, you'll get a job, you'll be all right.
I think conservatives have that same mindset.
Well, I mean, you know, I think Democrats are pretty conservative.
Okay, yes, fair.
But then there's this idea in the like, because of that, there's a meritocracy. There's also this thing of like, if you work hard, then you'll get somewhere. And there's like obviously truth in that. You know, if you don't do anything, you're not going to get anywhere. But
right, everything takes work.
Mm-hmm. But take that to its furthest conclusion. If the game is work hard, get money. If you have a lot of money, you must have worked really hard, so you must have earned it.
Unless you're born into generational wealth,
or if you just like, you know, created technology that exploits loopholes that then
or you have a business that exploits people.
Yeah, exploits loopholes to exploit people to then get $1 billion. And so
yeah, I think the flaw with that is, you know, the whole American dream concept of, you know, you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you work hard, and you make the life for yourself. Maybe 50 years ago that was possible, but everything is so expensive now that if you don't have that generational wealth, if you're anywhere at middle class or lower, the starting point is just too high for you to even get there. It's hard to get your basic needs met. How are you supposed to get through school when it's so expensive? Living is so expensive, food is so expensive, gas is so expensive, healthcare is so expensive, and you're just crushed under the pressure of the society where, you know, someone like me, I mean, personally, I probably don't have the best immune system. I tend to get highly stressed in general, but I think a lot of humans are that way. And in our society, it's like you get sick at all, or you get sick with any kind of chronic illness, which is also very perpetuated in our country. You're just fucked. Like you dig yourself this hole of medical debt that's so hard to get out of. And school is the same way. Like, unless you have someone paying for your education, or you were supported enough growing up and in a home where you could focus on school, get your grades, get your scholarships, that kind of thing, it's thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to get a degree. I dropped out of college because I couldn't.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Did you go to college with Brittany?
No. So she went to U of O. I went to OSU. She was in Eugene. I was in Corvallis. Okay. Somewhat close to each other, but I got into school when I was 17 for biochemistry and biophysics. And I was very interested.
Oh, well, no wonder you dropped out.
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
I was in school for marketing, and I was like, yeah, no, this is easy.
Like, maybe if I'd picked something a little bit more
words.
Well, you know, I've always been very interested in sustainability, and I really wanted to go into water conservation and purification because I think that's going to be a huge issue in our lifetime.
Yeah, I have a friend that does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she goes to rivers and gets test tubes and tests them. She wears the big rubber boots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still super interested in it. I'm leaning more towards geology at this point, just rocks and earth and dinosaurs and space geology too, like super interesting to me. But yeah,
Can you get a degree in space geology?
I think there is like some like aerospace geology studies.
That's wild.
I was listening to some podcasts last night, actually.
What's the opposite of lucrative? That sounds like a tough gig.
Spatial, I don't know.
Oh, I've specialized in rocks on other planets. Mm-hmm. Can I?
Well, usually they have a full background in everything on this planet.
Okay, fair.
And then usually it's not just about rocks, but it's about matter, and that can include organic matter. And usually it has to do with a search for life on other planets.
Okay.
So that's something that I also find very interesting, and I would love to explore. But there's kind of like moral dilemmas in that realm of what if we send building blocks of life, matter, carbon, that kind of things, to other planets to potentially plant a seed of life. Should we do that? Should we not do that? And I think in general, the consensus from professionals in that field is we should not do that. We should not tamper with planets or try to like create life.
Why? I mean, I can imagine why. I mean, I imagine in a billion years, life will form that will come and kill us.
I think life's already out there.
Well,
it's
sure,
just
sure.
the
But I mean,
universe
like,
is
if we
so
put life
big.
on Mars, I mean, and then, you know, in a little bit, life, well, maybe not Mars, but even further out. I just read the sci-fi series, the 3 Body Problem series not too long ago, and it's all about aliens and killing each other and who's going to kill who first and all these different things. So, and it's so well, 3 Body Problem series, check it out. And it's so well done that it's like, it's legitimately like, this is scary.
Yeah.
This shit could happen. So it's tampering with that stuff seems,
It's kind of
you know,
like
what if we tampered with here that went well?
What have we tampered with here?
On Earth that went well. What are some things that we've done on Earth that's like, it was good that we did this?
That's a great question.
We're killing, there's no more pandas, I think. And
we've
bugs,
knocked down tons of trees.
Bees. I think they're in danger.
Yeah, I mean, we only have proof of life on Earth. And I think the moral dilemma with trying to send something out into the universe is anywhere we send this matter, there may already be life, and we may be endangering that life or you know, again, tampering with something that is that really our place.
Yeah.
Do we get to decide? I mean, there's no guarantee that it would create life, but it's just, yeah, we don't get to play God like that.
Yeah. But you're not doing that.
No.
Right now you're a dancer.
Yes.
How'd you get into that? I don't think I asked you that.
Yeah, so pole dancing specifically or just dance?
I don't know. I mean, how'd you get to where you are?
So,
because you're showing me all these videos of you twirling and spinning, and I'm like, God damn, how do you get from biochemistry, whatever, to I'm a genie in a bottle, baby?
Yeah. Well, it was a long road.
You have a genie outfit, buddy? You have a genie outfit?
I kind of do, actually. Yeah.
You do.
But so how it started, so I went to school when I was 17, biochemistry, biophysics. My first term, I took a ballroom 1 class with one of my friends.
Okay.
And from that point on, I took a dance class or multiple every term until I dropped out, which was 2.5 years in. I think I took like 13 dance classes in 2.5 years. You
just loved it.
I loved it. It became my life. I became the vice president of the Ballroom Dance Club.
What does it do? What does it do for you?
It's very cathartic and self-expressive. I'm also a classically trained musician. I play cello. That's a huge part of how Brittany and I.
Know that.
Yeah, that's how.
And then she plays
violin and viola. Yeah. So we were in orchestra together. That was a huge connecting point. I mean, music definitely brings people together. But yeah, so I had this background in music. I understood rhythm and how to, step to a beat. And that's basically all you need for a foundation in dance. Took all these classes and it became my community. Especially that was a huge part of it. There was a huge community around it. So, around my classes and stuff, it was like I was just doing it because I had to. But dance, I got to meet people, I got to connect with people, I got to exercise, and I got to express myself and listen to music. So I did a couple of performance teams at OSU, and that was my favorite thing. I've always loved performing. And I remember thinking if I could major in dance, I would, but I had this thought like, oh, that's not possible. That's not lucrative. That's not how you do the American dream. Get a degree, get a job, make money.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of dancer you want to be, but
I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe that I could make a living just off my body, and myself. But what happened is I eventually, under a lot of different pressures, financial, mental health, familial pressures, I ended up dropping out when I was 19. And I had to move away from school. I kind of lost my dance community. And after some number of years, I moved to Portland, and there was a dance community there. I made some good friends, and a couple of us, one time, we went to a sex club in Portland called the Velvet Rope.
Is it a strip club?
No.
What's a sex club?
So a sex club.
They just be fucking in the club?
Yeah, kind of.
What?
So there's a lot of rules. There's a lot of rules on touching and consent. Like you have to explicitly ask for consent before you touch somebody. But
wait, so what? Okay, what kind of is this? Like prostitutes are there, and you ask and you say what's up, or is it like normal people come in?
It's all civilians.
And everyone's touching and rubbing.
Yes. Well, so it's kind of like.
Damn.
So
how much was the cover?
think it was like $5 for women.
$5. Okay,
and then like 50 for men
yeah,
or something like that. And they had some rules like that men couldn't be there
Gross.
by themselves or something, which I don't really understand why that's in place.
Because then it's gonna be 100 men jerking off to 2 women.
Yeah, so they basically incentivize.
Have you met a man?
Yes, yes,
I
have. But yeah, they incentivize women to come, and so you know, you fill all the paperwork and stuff and release forms, consent, and you go in, and it's basically there's a bar upstairs and downstairs. There's dance floors. There's a pole on the dance floor. There's a stage with a pole. There's all these rooms, some of them closed, some of them with windows for voyeurs or exhibitionists.
So is it sort of like it's a club? So you hang out.
Yeah, it's kind of like a nightclub.
You have fun, and then if you want to fuck, you can go into a room. Yeah, and can you fuck in front? Can you just get a BJ in front of everybody?
There was. I don't know. There's rules about sex acts happening on the floor, but there are specific areas that are dedicated to it. So there's a group sex bed where you could just like orgy. There was porn projected on the walls that was going on, music and stuff. There's alcohol available.
The porn seems a bit overkill.
It was, and it wasn't. I mean, it just kind of made me feel numb to the whole kind of environment. It was just
I'm trying to fuck other people. I don't want to. I'm trying to like look around and fantasize about fucking everyone here,
right? Not
just watch.
But everybody has their thing, and maybe for some people it's really hot to watch porn with other people or in a public setting. And then there's also some rules. I think you could be fully nude in the club if you want to be, or you had to wear shoes, I think, but you could be nude. And then there's the group sex bed. There was a hot tub outside, which I don't even know if that's sanitary. There's the poles. There's the rooms.
Bubbling.
Yeah,
probably bubbles up.
Chlorine. But yeah, and they had rules about like no sex in the hot tub and stuff like that. But then there's all these rooms, and like I said, rooms with windows. So while I was there, as far as the dancing goes, I was playing around on the poles, and I just was having fun. And I had a group of people kind of gather around me on the stage where I was playing around, and they tipped me. And
were they jerking off?
No, they were just, watching some people, a couple, and some just single people. So, like there was an older woman that was there that was like flirting with me.
What do the eyes feel like? Cause I'm a comedian. I go on stage. People look at me.
Yeah.
And people, laugh too, cause that's what you want. And there's different kinds of responses you can get from the crowd. So what kind of and I went to a strip club recently, and it was like my first time really at a strip club, and I was just watching like I was at a museum.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, she's really doing it. Mm-hmm. And there were other guys. I thought the closest thing I could come, they were looking at her like they were watching their child take their first steps. They were just like,
oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it was this weird. It was more aggressive than that. It was like this aggression, but like soft admiration,
like intrigue. Yeah. I would say.
What were the eyes like
at that point, or in general when I'm performing?
Both.
So at that point,
there's been an evolution.
I've always, like I said, I've always loved performing. I did theater, musical theater, dance, all that kind of stuff. So I've always liked the attention and the spotlight. Part of that comes from just a whole lot of neglect in my childhood and not ever having the spotlight. But specifically at that club, I was just kind of dancing like no one was watching. I wasn't really doing it for anyone but myself, but people noticed me. They asked me if I was a stripper. I said no. They gave me money and said, you should be. And my friends that were there were like, wow, you're so good. Like, that's so awesome. It's inspiring. And that was that planted the seed for me on maybe I could actually do this. And I can talk more about how I got into that. But how the eyes feel when I'm performing now, I'm very confident in my performance. And if there are eyes on me, that means there's a higher chance that there is money on me too.
Right.
So for me, what I like to see is I like when customers are watching me, when they're watching so attentively and they want to see all the details and they want to see all the little slips and little peeks at different parts of my body. Because, there's the act of stripping and going from clothed to unclothed. And that's, a very sexy process for some people. I don't really find people taking their clothes off to be that sexy, but can be done really well. It just depends on who's performing.
Right.
So the eyes feel like observation, intrigue. Sometimes they feel like judgment. Sometimes there's a projection of
who's paying a cover to go into a strip club to be like, whores, all of you whores.
Well, there's a lot of whorephobia. Honestly, they don't do it on purpose, but they come in thinking, oh, I want to have a good time, and oh, it'll be, like pretty girls and stuff. But then they actually see us perform. They actually see the confidence and the expression in our sexuality. And most people that come into the club aren't that comfortable with their sexuality, don't have that much experience portraying their sexuality and being vulnerable like that. So sometimes people see it and they're like, wow, that's so amazing, it's so inspiring. And other times people come in and they go, wow, that's a lot, and like, you should be embarrassed, kind of like, I'm ashamed of my own sexuality and you should be more ashamed of yours.
Yeah,
but I'm not. And that's part of my thing as a dancer, is I've been healing myself and my own sexuality and my sexual traumas through my life. And as a dancer, I'm able to be free and expressive in that. And I do it for me. And I started it, I got into dance to do it for me and to express myself and to perform. And yeah, it's honestly really beautiful. And I've worked with a lot of different clients over the years that have a lot of shame and guilt around their sexuality or repressed sexual traumas that they're able to work through a little bit in contact with me, because I do feel so free. And so, it sounds weird, but kind of like childlike is not the right word. Innocent, kind of like wholesome almost about sexuality, not seeing it as a thing that's what does
this do?
Yeah. Ooh, does it feel good? Maybe you should touch more. Like, what do you want to see?
Why does it look like? What's it doing?
Mm-hmm.
You do that?
Sometimes.
Is that Opal?
Yeah, that's Opal.
Okay, shit.
Opal is playful and sweet and charming and caring and interested in a lot about stripping. Isn't even just about the dance and the pole work and the nudity. That's obviously part of it, but a majority of what I do is connect with people. And honestly, a lot of what I do is just listen. I just listen to people talk about their lives.
Okay.
And they will pay me to sit there and listen to them, and then they'll pay me to go in the back and have me on their lap and get to touch my boobs and my ass and have me on their, their person.
What are you doing? Them. Touching my boo 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 boo. Do you do that?
No. I mean, generally, no. Noises? No, I'm honestly very down to earth as a dancer and in the private dance
whatever.
rooms.
Touch my tits.
No, not like
tits. Whatever. We're all gonna die.
Not like.
Listen, I'm really making a wide.
not like lackadaisical like that. It's more like I want to make sure that my customer has the experience they're looking for. So when I get in there, I tell them my boundaries.
Sure.
And then I say, is there any, do you like being touched? Is there any way that you don't want to be touched? Is there anything that you really like or want me to do or want to see? And that's really good because it makes every dance a little bit different, and I get to tune in to each person and their interests. Some people don't want to touch. They just want you to kind of dance on them. They want to see your body. Some people want to touch you all over. Some people want you to grind on their dick and like jizz in their pants. Yeah. I've had many of that.
That sounds great.
I've had that.
Why would you not want that?
I have had some people that want me to sit there and they just want to have me take my boots and my socks off and just smell my feet. They want to smell my armpits. They want my pheromones. They just want to like see me sit there and spread my legs and just stare into my vagina, like just like stare into my soul as if my vagina were the window.
What do you look at?
What do I look at?
Yeah, when that's happening, when your legs are spread and they're just what do you?
I look down at myself.
Is it like
I look at them? Like I make eye contact.
And you're like,
mm-mm.
I imagine this.
No. So I mean, I'm very much trying to.
Let me check on this camera real quick.
Yeah, please do.
We literally have 34 seconds before it turns off. I got a fucking camera that doesn't. There's a limit.
So do you have to just start a new?
Yeah, just have to start a new one.
Okay. Well, we can.
We'll be right back.
We pause. Yeah.
And
so, a main focus of mine in the club and in my general life is to connect with people, and I think a lot of times the majority of customers that I meet aren't just there to party, have a good time with their friends. There are some of those, but the majority of customers that I have are single men between 30 and 70 or 80, and I shouldn't say single. Some of them are single, some of them are in relationships or married.
Sure.
Some of them are there and are doing so against the wishes of their partner, or lying about being there, or hiding the fact that they're there. But whatever the case, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not there to judge them or shame them. They're free people. They came for a reason. And for the most part, that reason is some form of connection. A lot of times it is a more physical, sexual thing, but more often than not, it's a desire for emotional or romantic connection. And a lot of people come in with a desire for either the girlfriend experience or the mistress experience, where they want to be taken care of sexually.
Well, I mean, I get that, because like, you know, I've read different books and stuff like that. I even heard things on podcasts and TED Talks and stuff like that, where it's like, you know, you get into a relationship and it starts getting stale and it becomes what it is, and you've made this, if you're in a monogamous relationship, you've made this bond with this other person that's like, yo, we're just gonna fuck each other, and among other things. And then when that starts to go, suddenly your sexuality is held hostage, and it's like, I need to fuck, and this isn't happening, so what am I gonna do?
You need an outlet.
And at least if you go to a strip club, it's like you're paying somebody to not fuck you, but it's still sexual enough to get some of that juice back.
Yeah.
And, you know, you never feel more like yourself whenever you got that sexual juice in you.
Yeah,
and sometimes
it's a good flow.
People get into relationships where they just don't got it anymore. They don't even feel like themselves.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, it's not necessarily specific sex or sexuality that they're seeking, although there's always that underlying component. A lot of times it's just a craving for just human connection and touch.
Sure.
Especially through COVID. I danced through COVID, at least when the clubs were open and when masks were required and all that.
You were wearing a mask on stage?
Yep.
Did you figure out how to make it sexy?
Yeah, I kind of felt like someone from Mortal Kombat, you know? Just like a little mystery, and I'm all naked, but my face is
put
covered.
Some little dazzles.
Oh yeah, I have all kinds of bedazzled little masks and stuff from that time. But yeah, there were so many people that came in, especially people that were single, that just hadn't had human touch in weeks or months of not even having a person hug them. And I'm a very touchy person, especially as Opal. I'm very forward with that, because people come to clubs to have a confident, forward person interact with them. Yeah. Otherwise, they'd go to a bar if they wanted to make a connection or find someone to, but they don't always have the confidence or the desire to work that hard. They want someone to come to them. Right. So,
I was at a strip club, like I said before, and it wasn't really for me. I don't know if I was too drunk. I was pretty drunk. I don't know if I was too drunk or what it was, but there was just something.
Might not have been a great club. Might not have been the vibe.
It seemed cool. Yeah. It seemed nice. It seemed kind of, it seemed kind of like upscale, but like, dirty. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Sort of like we're nice, but it's still a strip club. Like that kind of vibe. And I just remember there was a girl I wanted to get a dance from, and my friend was I didn't have any cash. My friend was like, here's $50. Go get a dance. And I was like, okay, no, I'll take the money, and then you go tell them to come over. Yeah. So then that's what he did, because I was all drunk. I was drunk enough where I was like, I knew I wanted to dance, but also I was confident enough to tell my friend that I was not confident enough to go over there. So I was like, go get it.
That's good. You're advocating for yourself. That's good.
So then he goes and gets it. And then I only wanted one girl. Two girls came over, and they tell me, this seemed like a weird interaction, because they sat in my lap, one on each leg. And, you see that and you think it's sexy. All I thought was, y'all are heavy. Yep. What? And I'm like, that's not hot at all. Sit next to me
and have a conversation. Maybe.
But they both sit on my lap, and I'm like, okay. And then they're just talking to each other about stripper stuff. Yeah. And they're just like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know how to make a dance happen. I was hoping, I thought, you're stripper. You do the thing. And they were just talking to each other. And then one of them, the one I wanted, leaves. So I was like, all right. Well, then I was like, she seems nice too. And then she sort of starts. She's just kind of like around me and it's not. I can tell she's not putting her heart into it. And then she just leaves, and I never paid her. And I was like, well, when was I supposed to give her money?
So I was very confused by the whole thing. Sounds like inexperienced dancers that don't really know how to make their money, because the number one rule.
Shade.
Yeah. The number one rule about making money in a club, especially if you're able to sell private dances, is you need to initiate and you need to ask if somebody's interested in a dance. And you're going to get turned down sometimes. You're going to get rejected. So a lot of times newer dancers are afraid to do that because they don't have the confidence and they don't want to hear no. But, you know, for every 10 people that you ask, do you want to dance? Probably half of them are going to say yes, in my experience.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, if you didn't ask any of them, 1 out of those 5 people might have said, hey, can I get a dance from you? So the majority of your money is going to come from you initiating and having the confidence to say, hey, you want to dance? And more often than not, people will be like, yeah, let's do it. And sometimes people are like, oh, well, I don't really have the money or And that's fine. I usually will just say, all right, well, you can come find me if you change your mind or whatever. Or I won't even say that at all. I'll just be like, okay, yeah, I understand. And I'll sit and talk to them for a little while.
Right.
And then 5-10 minutes later, they're like, actually, you know what? I will get that dance. Because
that's what I want. I wanted some.
Because you're looking for connection.
Listen, I'm a sweetie.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a sweet boy. You've seen me.
You are.
And it's there. I'm embarrassed that you've seen me in my sweetest state. Because
it's okay to be
when I'm out in public, I'm like, man. Everyone's like, man, Tyler's scary. Okay, they don't think that, but they're like, man, Tyler, he's such a badass man. He's so cool. I bet you nothing affects him. No, I'm a sensitive sweetie.
Yeah, most
and
people are.
I just wanted to talk to somebody and then maybe have her dance on me a bit, and then I give her $50 and then call it. But then this they talking to each other, and no, they should have talked to me.
No, and so one of the biggest things I've learned.
New Orleans.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I've learned.
I can. The name is on the tip of my tongue.
Of the club.
Yeah, I don't remember.
If you think of it, feel free to interrupt. But yeah, it's very important that you are curating an experience for your customers. You're an entertainer. Yes, you're a stripper. Yes, you take your clothes off. Yes, you give dances. But you're not just, living your life talking shit with your friends and sitting on people. You're there to engage someone. They came because they wanted to be engaged.
Yeah.
So you engage them. If you what I do is I will pay attention if people are looking at me. I look at their body language. If they're turned towards me, if they give me eye contact, I'll engage with them. Sometimes I'll engage with them even if they're not doing that, but for sure.
Are you always so I don't really like strangers. I don't like talking to people.
It's hard.
Do you have you always been that way? Do you like that?
No. In general, if I'm just going about my day, I don't engage with people I don't know unless they engage with me. I'll be polite or I'll have a conversation. Sometimes it's great, but I don't talk to people I don't know unless I have to. But as a dancer, it is your job to engage with customers, to create entertainment and
do you have
that experience.
Not a script, but remember well, you were in college. Remember in college when you'd meet someone and be like, "Hey, how's it going? Good. What's your major?" We knew what the first
there's a social script. Script.
What's the social script for stripper?
So, I kind of play it by ear-ish, but it's kind of the same every time. Usually I'll notice someone's...
Call him daddy.
Yeah. Well, no, we wait a little bit for that. You don't want to give them too much for free. You don't want to give them too much for free. And I also don't want to make them feel like I'm just being predatory and and just getting all up on their space.
Right.
So usually I'll engage with them and be like, hey, how's it going? And then I'll kind of wait for their response, hear what they have to say. I'll ask them what brought you in today? Kind of just hear what they're interested in. And they'll be like, oh,
You sound like you just
it's just fucking customer
clerk.
service.
Hey, we're gonna get you.
Yeah, what can I get for you? Kind of.
What do you need?
And you want
some titties, some ass? What do you need?
Yeah, kind of. And then sometimes people will literally say, they'll be like, oh, I'm getting divorced and I just need some titties in my face. That's how I met one of my partners. And sometimes they'll say, oh, I just had a really hard week at work and I just want to blow off some steam, or, oh, I just came in for a drink. I'm not going to be here very long, whatever. And from their response, I can gather whether or not I should continue engaging with them. I'll say if I don't vibe with their energy, honestly, I won't really try to hang out too long or push for dances. I'll just be like, okay, hope you have a good time. I'll see you around, leave, do my thing. If we have a good conversation, if I can feel that connection forming, then I will start asking them questions about themselves, or if they ask me, I'll share my experiences. And usually we'll get into some conversations about how I got into dance or why I'm a dancer or what my goals are. And usually at that point, they're like, okay, you're hot. You have a brain. You're nice. We're talking. You care about what I have to say. I want to do this, And at a certain point, I can usually feel, if they don't bring it up, I can feel like, hey, you want to do some dances? And then go from there.
Do you ever have guys dance with you? Like they literally.
No.
No one.
Never.
Like they're like
not a one.
May I have this?
Okay,
dance?
one.
It's
time.
like, and they do like a Beauty and the Beast thing. That would be so funny. I'm gonna be that. I'm gonna be that guy. I'm a guy that comes in. And it's like no, like I'm a pretty womaner. I'm like no, and dancing around and.
No, they don't usually dance. But one time there was a guy in the club who was either very drunk or high, and he was like, it's like. Out on the floor doing this, and really the etiquette in a strip club is the only people that should be dancing are the ones on stage. You don't want to be taking attention away from the people on stage. I'm sure people were
throwing money at him. I mean, I'm sure he was getting down.
Nope. I mean, he was fine.
He did all right. I mean, real recognize real. It's like I see you got some potential.
I respected that he was expressing himself, but he was also talking shit about people's music, like, oh, who's playing this fucking slow ass music in the clubs. Like, well, we all get to pick our music and we all have different styles, and this is how we express ourselves. So,
any country people?
There's some. I've danced to some Marty Robbins, not gonna lie.
I don't know Marty Robbins. I don't know any country music.
Big iron on his hip, like that kind of.
Big what?
Big iron on his hip.
Iron.
Just kind of like old classic country kind of stuff. I got into that because I had a cowboy get up.
Yeah,
I bought the outfit and then I had to pick the music.
But now you can do Old Town Road.
Yeah, I could do Old Town Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the coolest country song in the last 100 years, I'm gonna say. As someone
just because Lil Nas X is on there.
As someone who never listens to country music, I'm gonna say best country song.
Yeah.
In the last.
I've really never been a country
century.
person, but in the last couple of years, some of it has grown on me. I'm not a fan of pretty much any modern or pop country. It just makes me want to vomit. But there's some classic stuff that's pretty good.
Here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
You're they them. What is Opal? Is Opal she?
Opal is a she they.
She they.
Opal presents. People are going to automatically gender Opal as a woman because she's a dancer in a strip club, and for the most part, people only ever think of strippers as being, cisgendered women.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do have customers sometimes that'll ask my pronouns, especially very clearly queer or femme presenting people.
Yeah,
will ask me
because
they can pick up on it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even have I have some earrings that say they them on it. I have this ring that I'm wearing right now that says they them.
Yeah.
People don't, most men especially don't notice those details at all, but other queer people will see the queer coding and notice it. And my favorite thing in the world is being able to give dances, interact with and give dances to femme or queer people, because I feel so much safer with them.
Interesting.
They tend to respect boundaries 1,000%.
What do you think? What do you think? What's the difference? I mean, I get inherently
entitlement.
I get inherently it's like, oh, tribe. There's like, yo, I know you get my experience. We vibe.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna understand what this is. You're probably, because you're queer, you probably have a more expanded mind when it comes to sexuality and expressing yourself, blah, blah, blah. So you're probably gonna be cool. Entitlement. What does that mean?
So I think the difference between straight men that are customers in the club versus femme or queer folk that I notice is the straight men tend to be a lot more entitled. They think that they deserve something automatically, especially if they pay you. They believe that they're entitled to whatever experience they want. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And a lot of the customers that I work with see me as an object. They don't see me as a person. They see me as a tool that they can use in that space, and they don't think about the fact that I'm a human being that goes home after work and cries in the shower sometimes. Like, that's what happens when I have somebody assault me at work.
Oh, okay.
But they don't see it that way. They see it as, oh, I'm paying you $100 right now for these 3 songs, and I get to do whatever I want.
Yeah, people do be like that. I remember I was outside of Amy's Ice Cream one time. They were about to close, and this guy was like, they're going to be open because I got the money. And I was like, if he does that with ice cream.
Exactly.
What's he going to do with a vanilla woman like yourself?
Right. Exactly. People really do think that buying, spending money means that they're entitled to something.
Yeah,
and
I mean...
they
are entitled to something, but just
yeah,
not
to a certain
necessarily.
extent.
There's a negotiation.
And another rule of a strip club is the more money you spend, the more fun you're gonna have. Because if you're, especially, maybe not everywhere, but if you're around dancers that have experience, they know if you're spending money that you'll keep spending money if you're having a good time. And also, we feel good when you throw money on a stage, we feel good knowing that's feedback for us, like laughter or clapping during your sets. That's feedback saying, "Ooh, I like what you did. That looks good," or "That's attractive," or "That's
Right.
hot," or whatever. And so when we get that money on stage, for me, it makes me feel like my art and my expression is valued. It's seen and it's valued.
Yeah.
And those dollars being thrown is an encouragement to engage. So for me, if I'm on stage performing and I have 5 people at my rack and I have 3 people put a couple bucks down, I have a person put $5 down, and I have a person throw a stack of money onto the stage, I'm going to give that person all my attention.
Sure, of course, yeah.
I'll give a teeny bit to each other person, but it is proportional to how much money you're spending. It's pay for play.
What do you think about this? My friend was because when I was going to the strip club, I was like, I don't really know what to do here. And he was like, dude, it's great. What you do is you just get a bunch of ones, and then some girl comes and shakes her ass, and then you just take it and you throw it at her as hard as you can.
It's aggressive.
Yeah. No, it's okay. He's like, you throw it at her as hard as you can, and it's just like fuck you, like it's demeaning, and it's like everyone's happy because she's getting money, and you get to.
It doesn't need to be demeaning.
You know, I don't know why.
It really doesn't need to be demeaning.
I felt like I don't know if that's my vibe. I don't know if that's what.
No,
I mean, I'm, maybe I was born in 1993. I'm make it rain. That's how I grew up. That's what
right.
I saw on the TV in the music MTV.
Yeah, and you feel like a baller when you're making it rain. And when
Pop
the girls
champagne.
are there,
If I could bring some maybe from outside. I wouldn't want to buy champagne and then pop it. If I could bring some outside, maybe like a sparkling cider.
They'd probably pop it for you and pour it. But yeah, it
sounds sticky. Honestly, I probably wouldn't do it. I'd probably do like a LaCroix because it's probably not gonna stick that much. You can probably just wipe it off with a towel, and then you can keep
Keep
doing your thing.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I'm very considerate. I don't want to make any of y'all sticky.
I think that demeaning and degradation comes into play a lot in the clubs. I had an experience recently actually with a female customer. There was an older couple, probably in their 50s or 60s, 50s, sitting at my rack, and they both had a $5 bill. They're like, "Oh, this is all the money that we have for the set." And I was like, "That's totally fine." And the woman wants to put the $5 bill in my top and the other one in my bottom, which is very common. They're always like, "Oh, let me put the thing in the." I'm like, "Okay, fine." And so she puts one in my top, and then she goes, "Yeah, now turn around, bitch." I was like, "Excuse me?" And she looks shocked, and she's like, "Oh, well, I mean, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it like that." I was like, "Well, how did you mean it?"
This is a woman.
This is a woman, an older woman.
How old?
Like I said, probably in her 50s.
Okay.
And she looked very uncomfortable. She kept looking at her husband. It was clearly like let's go to a club to have fun, get drunk, and see hot bitches. And then when I'm right in front of her and I'm assuming, and I don't want to make assumptions, but this is generally how it goes. I'm younger. I'm very fit. I'm very in shape. I'm very in tune with my sexuality. I'm very expressive. And her husband's watching me. And she doesn't like it. She doesn't like it. It's threatening.
Oh, you think that's what it was? I thought maybe she was into it. Maybe she wanted to do some.
She did not seem into it.
She wasn't. Okay.
She seemed like she was trying to play the part, and also by being degrading to me, I could tell that she thought she was, doing it right. Like that's how you're supposed to do it at the strip club. But when I called her out on it and was like, "Excuse me," like, you can't talk to me that way, kind of. I could see her go inward in this process of like, "Oh, I just like spoke to another woman like that, and like I wouldn't want to be spoken to like that." And then they just kind of sat there looking awkward for like 5 more minutes and then left the club.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes I think people feel like they need to perform and they need to look cool and they need to do the thing, but you also don't want to be a dick to the dancers. Like we're human beings.
Well, I think it's a subtle thing. Because, most people don't go to strip clubs all the time.
No, very, very true.
So
most people have never been.
Most people, how do I act in a strip club? Well, I'm going to act how you do on TV and movies and stuff, which is crazy and whatever, blah, blah. And, strippers on movies are definitely objects. Straight up, they're just part of the plot. They're just a tool to get the characters to blah, blah, blah. So it's like, all right, well, I guess I'll throw some money in her face, call her bitch, smack her titties, and, call it a day, Yeah. And it's like what's really happening is, like you're saying, there's a human there, and then there's when you get face to face with the real thing,
Right.
Especially someone, they're like, yeah, you can't really do that here, dude.
Yeah, most
I don't
people
really like
do not understand. There's an etiquette within strip clubs of what is and isn't allowed, and there's also a lot that goes into it on whether or not a club is no contact or contact.
Sure, yeah.
Some clubs, you are literally not allowed to touch the girls. If you do, you will get kicked out. So if you try to slap someone's ass on the floor, you will get kicked out.
Yeah.
And then it's complicated because in a full contact club, I work at 2 no contact clubs and 1 full contact club. They're all fully nude in Portland. And at the full contact club, I do often have customers try to touch me or slap my ass or whatever on the floor without my consent, without paying me, and that's not okay. You should not touch a human being without their consent.
Yeah.
Even if they're a stripper, it's our job. We're doing it to fucking pay our bills. And some people, maybe they'll like it, maybe they like to be degraded, and that's a sexy thing for them. But work isn't necessarily sexy for us. It can be, small percentage of the time. The majority of the time, it's just our job.
Yeah.
We're doing customer service, we're entertaining, we're creating an experience, and we're making our bag and we're going home and paying our bills.
You know what's interesting about hearing it, and then also thinking back from the conversation we were having the other day about like neurodivergence and stuff like that, is like, you seem to be very in tune and empathetic and able to read people and read situations.
Yeah.
And how do you think that relates to? Because we can talk about that, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like you were talking about, like maybe you think you might be on the spectrum in some of these, and I know that it's a spectrum, so it's a wide range. But you seem very in tune with people.
Absolutely.
And like very like, oh, you're doing this because you are insecure because your husband like me and you all old bitch, so you need to get the fuck out of here. My titties are back, or whatever. Like you seem to be you're able to break it down on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's social things that behaviors, I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I've spent a lot of time in my life observing and researching human behavior and social cues and social scripts. I do believe that as far as my brain works and thinking that I'm on the spectrum, one thing that's very common with people on the spectrum is that they do miss social cues and they're not very in tune with those things. Mm-hmm. And I am, and that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not on the spectrum. There are a lot of other things that my brain does that are in line with spectrum, but I do think that I have a pretty good understanding of people. I have high empathy. I think I'm honestly hyper in tune. I'm a little bit too in tune with other people to the point where their energy can affect me much more than I would like it to. That, and also, like I said, I spent a lot of time observing social cues and social dynamics and social scripts so that I can perform, so that I can appear how I want to be perceived.
What did that look like throughout your life growing up? What are you observing? Social scripts, what does that mean?
Watching, paying attention to TVs and movies, and like you just said, like, oh, we've all seen how people treat strippers in movies. Like, we all do that. We're all creatures of, social creatures that learn by observing. I think maybe it's hard for me to tell because I only know my own experience, but I've learned how to socialize by watching people socialize. I've learned how to interact by watching shows and watching movies, which can be dangerous because
I think
you don't necessarily want to reflect the portrayals that you see in the media.
Yeah.
But I also do it in real life. People watching, it just literally just observing friends and seeing, what makes people happy and things like, I know that people love to talk about themselves.
Sure, yeah.
And you can really engage someone literally by just asking questions and listening.
Do you think, I don't know, because I feel like I've done that too. I've had my time where I still don't like talking to random folks. Right. But I've gotten better at that. That's a skill that I've developed I've gotten better at, even though it's not my favorite thing to do. And a lot of it is the same thing, where you're like asking questions, you're talking about just being curious whenever you're talking to someone new, having them talk as much as possible. And then now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, and then leaving the moment you get bored. I mean, because there's so many boring people.
I never do that though, and that's one thing that I've noticed about myself is I will let somebody continue engaging with me even if I've lost interest for so long. I've tried to stop doing this, especially in my personal life.
Right.
But that skill has served me in my work. I can sit and listen to the most boring ass story.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
And appear interested because I've learned how to mask and I've learned how to appear engaged and interested even when I'm not.
I usually find if people are talking about themselves or whatever, like, they don't. I sometimes I feel like if I just put a cardboard cut of me
They
and
wouldn't
then
even
just
notice.
walked
For
away.
sure.
They would be like, and another thing, I mean, Iraq and Afghanistan, you got to remember, before pre-9/11, like they could just, they would just keep going.
And they do that. And sometimes I feel like I'm literally just sitting there like a mannequin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they don't really care. They just want to be able to say what they want to say and feel like somebody gives a shit. And that's my job most of the time. That is my job. When you boil it down to what it really is that. It's me sitting and yeah.
Well, again, we're coming back. Cool. And we're back. Technical difficulties, lost a bunch of shit. I'm upset about it. What are you gonna do?
I'm looking at my. Is that okay? No, it looks good.
Yeah.
The little lines just look much smaller than before.
Yeah, they're probably not balanced perfectly, but it's definitely going in. I think mine might be a little bit hotter than yours.
Yeah, it's all opportunity to learn about the technology.
You're the, like I said, you're the first guest.
Yeah.
And I haven't fucked around with this, and it's that this starting this whole thing. The process of this has been so like. There's always something. There's always another thing that's like, oh fuck, now I gotta either learn how to do that or figure out how to get around this issue or this and that, whether it's the software, whether it's the hardware, whether it's I needed to borrow a cable for today. I need to get another light. I need to figure out what to do and how to do whatever. So I think that's just, when it comes to something like this, it's like, yeah, that's just gonna be part of it.
Yeah.
It's just like you learn, like growing pains, learning curve.
I think the more you do it too, the more you'll understand all the hardware and software involved and all of the things that might go wrong. Yeah. Through these trials and errors.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know anything about any of this. And I mean, I've never had a camera before, and I'm like looking, I'm like I go to the camera store and the guy's like, oh, you're going to need a different lens for that. And I'm like, motherfucker, how much is a lens? He's like, a lot. I'm like, motherfucker, shit. So I'm like, all right, well, spend $100 on another lens.
Yep.
And then I'm using the lens and I'm like, this isn't exactly what I'm looking for. But like, I mean, it's just there's always something. And then I know at some point it's all going to be settled. Right. And then I can just do the work without.
Yep. That's all part of the process.
Yeah. What was I watching? Philosophy Tube on YouTube, and they were just talking about how the it just reminds me, like how the tools we use become a part of ourselves. Like whenever you're driving in a car, you don't feel the car. You don't feel that you're not like, I'm driving a car. You're just like, I'm going. You feel the road. There's bumps in the road. You don't think that it's not you. Your consciousness sort of expands out into whatever object you're using until it doesn't work. Yeah. You're at the computer, you're typing on the keyboard, and it's just a keyboard until your F key doesn't work. And you're like, fuck, what's wrong with the keyboard?
How does this even work? How does this even function?
You feel my F isn't working, like it becomes your F that's broken, because it's connected to that. So I feel like new appendages, I'm just trying to figure out how to use them.
Yeah, you get there.
But what we were talking about was, because where it cut off, we missed a bunch of shit. So we're moving on. We were talking about COVID. We were talking about growth during COVID, how I was learning how to do different comedy on the internet and writing scripts and doing this, getting in and out of relationships, learning about myself. Right. Friends of mine were reevaluating their life, who they want to be and moving towards where they want to go. And you were saying that we were all in this time where there was a lot of upheaval and we all had to just sit with ourselves.
Right. And it was a very intense period of self-exploration and reflection in a society that moves so quickly that when it all came to a halt, we were forced to reflect on what we were doing before that time. It was a very intense period of like before COVID and then COVID, and I don't know if this is after COVID. Now I guess it kind of feels like it's done, but it's not really, but it kind of is,
Well, you're in Portland.
Yeah.
It's done. It's been done here.
Okay. Yeah. It's still, I mean, people are still getting COVID and testing positive and getting sick and stuff, but it's just not as severe.
Did you get COVID?
I did have COVID twice.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. April of last year and then July of last year.
I think I got OG and then I think I got
Delta.
No, I think Omicron.
Omicron.
So I had it back in December.
I also got very sick in December. I was hospitalized for double pneumonia. Shit. Yeah, and my tonsils were really bad. I got those taken out in January. I very much could have had Omicron at that time as well because it was deep in my lungs. So as I hit the vape.
Hey, I'm not gonna stop being cool.
No,
just
no.
because I got double pneumonia.
No, but when it comes to that like reflection period, I think that a lot of people slowed down and they had to sit with themselves a lot more than they ever had. Normally our jobs, if you work the kind of 40-hour work week sort of deal that most people in America do, you don't have a whole lot of time outside of work and taking care of yourself and your home and your errands to really sit and just process things and think. But during that time, there was a lot of collective processing that was happening and people going, oh my God, it feels so good to not be just grinding all the time.
Yeah.
And what have I been doing to survive? And is that actually going to work for me in the long term? Can I go back to that? So personally, I don't feel like I can go back to that kind of lifestyle of just like working myself to the bone and stretching myself thin. That's a theme that I've heard amongst my community is that we all feel like we're just stretched so thin just to simply like live and provide for ourselves. And in that time, there was no choice but to just sit and exist. And
what did you discover?
In that time, I discovered that there's a lot of constructs in our society that I don't really find to be necessary.
Okay.
And that's part of how the gender exploration came in. Is when I spent all this time by myself without
because you were she, her, now you're they, them. Just in case we didn't catch that.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and I'm non-binary, and that's something that I really discovered and started exploring during that time of just. Is
me saying you a
reflection.
they? Is that?
No, that's totally fine.
I think it's just a fun way to say it.
No, that's great.
All right, cool.
I love it. No,
you a they?
Good. Yeah. You a they,
them, all of them. That's you.
Yeah, I heard someone use a pickup line recently that was like, my pronouns are they, them, yours. Take me on a date, baby.
Yeah, I like it. I saw there's a black girl that I work with, and it's remote, so it's all on Zoom.
Yeah,
she's they, them, but she put they, them, and I was like, man, we're so creative. we're just having fun with this shit.
Yeah, because it literally all is a construct. So you can say whatever you want. You can say you are whatever you want. And the people go all over the place with their pronouns saying z, zay, zam and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. You be whatever you want to be. For me, the they, them
it's a tough sell to other people though.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a tough one.
It is. And it's very,
making up new. I think I saw, do you know, I was watching stuff about it. There's libs of TikTok. Libs, like those libs.
Oh yeah.
Libs of TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And they this woman just goes and finds liberal shit on TikTok that is mockable.
Yeah.
And post it on Twitter,
mm-hmm.
and then like just roast it and stuff.
Yeah.
And one of them, it was just like this individual who was like, my pronouns are bug. And I'll show you how to use this. It's like you say, like, hey, let's get Bug to come over, and Bug can help us cook because Bug likes pasta. So that's how you use my pronoun Bug. And I'm like, come on.
At that point, just use their name.
At that point, I think we're not friends anymore. I think at that point, like, it's wild. It's a wild thing to expect. I don't even know how to. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Bug. It's like when they works, but then also I understand it's like a culture thing. It's like there is a bubble where this sort of exploration is happening.
Right.
This sort of like we've bursted the binary,
right?
And like now we're exploring what is even possible. And I think that's cool. But then it gets weird
and I respect that people, if they don't identify with she, her, or he, him. For me, they, them is the natural because we already use they and them in language already.
Yeah.
And so it's really easy. And language is created by the people speaking it. We create new slang that becomes part of our terminology all the time.
Sure.
But
it does have to stick.
But there has to be some transition from what the words we already use to regular practice. So, 5-10 years ago, they, them wasn't very common, and it wasn't something people really knew how to use.
No.
But with time and with exposure to that and practice, it's become pretty normal, and a lot of people can use they them just as easily as she or he. For me, I often tend to use a they them pronoun for people until I know what they want me to call them. I don't want to assume that you're a woman or a man just because you present that way.
Right.
So for me, the they them, and for a lot of people, I think is just, so I don't identify with the binary, and they them is just, I'm something outside of that.
Yeah, I was thinking what I was thinking about was, we have they them, but we use language as a tool to express ourselves and to define the world around us. Like, we need to call this a couch because otherwise we don't know what it is.
Right.
Like that is fundamentally how our brains are hardwired to view the world and interact with the world. Like, we use it through language. I mean, there's stuff, I'm sure you've seen stuff where it's like, a simple one is other languages have gendered objects. Like, it's like
in Spanish,
la table or el TV. Listen, I'm
la tele.
No, I don't think
la
that's
mesa.
it. I think it was LTV.
Oh yeah,
I think it was LTV.
Right.
And it's like those things. It's like that inherently, if you're speaking Spanish, you view objects as
in a gendered
in a way that people in English don't. And then there's more complicated versions of that too. And it must suck for non-binary, or I'm sure even trans people too, to have the fundamental building block of being a human language not include how you see yourself.
Right. Yeah, and I know that there's been a movement in cultures where that is more common. For example, like Latin culture, where people have started using, instead of Latina or Latino, they've used Latinx. And that's a more general way of just not gendering people based off of, chica or chico, girl or boy. I don't know if they would say chiquex or something like that, but there's been a movement of kind of changing the language. Just like in English, we've started using they, them instead of she, he.
Yeah, I got a Mexican friend and she has like a sister who's maybe living in not Mexico, like maybe like South America somewhere.
Sure.
And because I think Latinx is pretty American. I think that's the thing. Once you leave, people are going to be looking at you crazy if you say Latinx.
Yeah, I think that's more like Latin American people in United States.
Yeah, it's a very American thing.
Yes.
But like in wherever my friend's sister is, it was like instead of using chica, chico, they say chique, just like
okay,
neutral,
yeah, I like that.
Which I like it more because it goes with the language.
Yeah.
Like language
Exactly.
can change, but there are some fundamental things that you can't that is gonna be a harder stretch, a harder sell to get people on board. And it's like, what's the goal? Is it to be, at the end of the day, no one can be completely their authentic selves. Like, we do live in a society, and part of our identity is how we're reflected to each other. So it's like, if you want, you can have people call you Bug, but it's like, how about just go Chique? How about that?
Right.
Like that will fit in line, and hopefully everyone can get on board with that.
And that's why I think that they, them is a natural progression in our language already, and it's easier for people to incorporate, versus if every single person uses their own pronouns, at that point just use their name, because everybody has their own name. I mean, there's lots of people who have the same name, but that's another common trend in non-binary or trans people, is they will not go by their born name. For example, I was born Olivia, but I go by Liv most of the time because that's more neutral. Olivia is a female name.
Sure, yeah.
Oliver is a male name, but Liv could be short for either.
Sure.
And so for me, it's just neutral. I like that terminology of just more neutral. It doesn't have to be like, oh, you're 1 in 7.5 billion people, and everybody has to learn about how to call you. Like, sure, learn my name, but the they, them is just neutral all the time. And that's kind of why I use it for anyone until I know what their pronouns are. Yeah. Unless I'm in an area like Tennessee where anyone who looks female is going to use she, her for the most part.
But even that is just like,
I still don't want to assume.
Well, you don't, but there is a cultural context.
And some people get offended. People will be offended. They'll be like, I'm not a they, them. I'm a she, her. And I get that, because I also don't want to be misgendered.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to misgender people. So I just go for the most neutral thing that I have in my brain, which is the they, them automatically. Like, oh, that person over there, they're standing in line. That's something we would say. Go talk to them. That's already in our language, whether it's a she, her, whatever. And so just using that is a natural progression.
Wish there was something else besides man and woman that we could use. I mean, you can use human, but that's so...
Yeah.
That's so like it comes off as preachy. Like, we're all just humans, you know? Like, we're all just people. It's like, yeah, but there's other shit going on too.
Yeah.
Wish there was another, like, you know, I mean, that's a dude is great.
Yeah, there's a
Dog,
lot of
say
yeah,
dog.
bruh.
Homie.
No, I guess bruh's technically masculine. I don't care though. Like, people call me bruh, and I'm like, yeah, dude. I've heard a lot of non-binary people use folks instead of like, hey, ladies and gentlemen. They'll be like, hey, folks.
What do you think of FOLX? Have you seen? I'm sure you've seen that.
I've seen that. Yeah, I don't really see it to be that different from folks.
It seems
folks and folks.
completely unnecessary.
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem any different. I think it's just kind of a cute play on that word. But yeah, there's a lot of how do we neutralize gendered speech using words like folks or hey friend,
Yeah,
hey buddy.
Friend. Whenever I was working with kids, that's all we would do.
Yeah.
Hey friends, let's gather,
yeah.
friends. And I just hated it.
Mhm.
And that wasn't even like a gender thing. That was more like, how do we interact with kids without like making them feel little? All right, you fucking pieces of shit. Like, how do you
Okay, children.
Yeah, like, how do
Right.
you do that without sounding like an asshole? And then you say
Yeah.
friends, and you also sound like an asshole. It's like, there's no, some of this shit, I don't know.
I feel like no matter what we do, someone's always going to be upset.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
We just do our best.
We just do our best.
And that's why I feel like neutral language is just the best, because it's the most likely to be fitting for everyone. And again, I think that the most important thing is I just want people to feel comfortable and safe in their environments. And if you feel like language is not being targeted against you, it's inclusive. It's inclusive language.
Sure.
Then that's the benefit, is people feel included in that language. You know, no matter how you identify, how you feel about yourself, your gender, your sexuality, et cetera, if there's inclusive language being used, then you're not left out.
Mm-hmm.
Because humans are all about, you know, connection and being part of something. And we don't want to feel like we're the odd one out or something.
You know what I find myself doing sometimes on stage and off stage too? Like, I'll find myself talking like my mother in a way of like, to, I don't know, like in a sort of like disarming feminine way. To be like, you know, if someone yells something out in the crowd, I'm like, oh, it's okay, baby, you don't gotta worry about it. Like, it's all, like, sort of like a loving maternal place to kind of like,
Yeah.
I think it's fun. It's funny because, oh, I'm a guy talking like a old black lady, cool. And I don't know, it does something. Like, if, you know, like, I've had friends who'd be like, girl, let me tell you, and I'm like, girl, what you want to tell me? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck it, like, let's have some fun and get into these speech patterns that are like,
and we're reflective too. We're reflective.
If it's open to everybody, like, just fucking talk like your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have it's all in you, so just use it.
Yeah.
If it's appropriate.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
Mm.
And I think it's good on stage. I think it's funny.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
it's fun and disarming.
Oh yeah, I get to go to your show tonight.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, hopefully we can go to the strip club after.
Yeah. So
I'm hoping I can make it.
yeah, where's your show at tonight?
It's at the Velveeta Room. Open it for my good friend Brandy Davis.
Cool.
Brandy with an I.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good show. And then I got another show after that, and then I'll probably have to meet up with y'all later.
Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, I was also thinking about, because we were talking about like the relationship between like transness and queerness and the neurodivergent shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was thinking, because we were talking about it and how, like, you know, like, you've experienced a lot of strippers and a lot of non-binary folks are neurodivergent.
Yeah.
And you've noticed that as a pattern.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just that I've been living more of my authentic life and surrounding myself with people like me.
Sure.
But the majority of people that I meet, you know, especially in Portland, the majority of people that I meet are either queer or neurodivergent or both. I don't think I've met any queer people that are not neurodivergent. Like, everybody that I know that's queer, it has depression and or anxiety and or ADHD and or is on the spectrum. Like, there's all these things going on. Yeah.
What do you think? Chicken or egg? What do you think?
Well, I think that if you're queer growing up in a heteronormative world, you're more likely to develop anxiety and depression, feeling unsafe or feeling othered, you know? So if you're in the minority like that, that can definitely create some mental illness.
Yeah.
But certain things like autism or ADHD, or even depression, I have diagnosed major depressive disorder, that it's hard to tell with a lot of mental things if it's created by your environment or you're born with it, nature or nurture. And so I believe if you're queer, you're probably just wired that way. You're born that way. It's not something you necessarily learn or choose. And same with the way that your brain works and your mental processes. Like, you don't choose that. But that being said, especially trauma can change your brain chemistry. Like with PTSD or anxiety, depression, that kind of thing can develop from your environment, but you can be predisposed to it as well.
Yeah. I always think, because I'm Black, and I always think about that, because that's an experience.
Yeah.
And obviously it's similar shit where it's like you're othered. People, you feel like you don't belong in the larger, you have your community, but you feel like I feel with queer people, it's like you have to kind of find it.
Yeah.
Because, it's like like in Louis' latest special, he talked about, it was just this really subtle sort of thing where it's like, it's great, all of the gender stuff that's happening and the nuance that's coming out of that. But, we still need two boring hetero people to make a queer, like that is what we got right now until we figure something out. We got to respect the queers, but then normal, boring fucking penis and vagina is how we make it. And it was just this sort of like, we have, but there's a middle ground between both of them. And I don't remember where I was going with that, but I remember.
Yeah. I mean,
Louis funny.
I know. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also other ways. I mean, two queer people have kids all the time. Sure. So it's not always penis, vagina. I mean, we have in vitro and stuff like that. But I guess if you break it down, that sperm is coming from a ball sack and a penis.
Well, I think it's also
going into ovaries.
I think now queer people are having kids in mass more. I mean, think about if there's like a 60-year-old gay couple, they're probably not gonna have kids. Mm-hmm. Just because that wasn't really an option for a lot of their life.
Yeah,
and then now that's coming
unless you adopt.
Sure, right? Yeah, but even still, it's like but who knows? I think I imagine a lot of, I mean, I'm making this shit up, but I imagine a lot of gays just we're like, oh, I guess we're just gay, and
and that's the only option.
Dogs.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I also think in our generation, there's a lot more people, straight or queer, that are deciding that they don't want to parent their own.
Yeah.
They don't want to have their own children, biological children. I'm kind of the mind that I don't know whether or not I want to or will have biological children. I think that I do. Why? Kids are a big responsibility.
Okay.
I don't know if I need to see my DNA live out a childhood and a life in front of me. And I also do know that I have enough neurodivergences that I don't know. I love my brain. I love the way my brain works, but it's been hard existing in this world, and I don't necessarily need to pass that on genetically to a new life. I would rather, and there's already so many lives in this world that aren't being taken care of. I would rather take care of someone who already exists than create another life.
Yeah. Man, I think about it, and it's just like, man, this world, we're probably the last generation that's probably going to be all right.
Yeah. Are we even all right?
Yeah.
You think so?
I mean, I look at my, I got art on the walls. I got a couch. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have that too. But I'm like, in 100 years, this world's going to be burning, falling apart, geopolitical strife, global warming's not getting any better.
No, for sure.
Where the fuck is politics going? Who knows? But it's it seems like the world
is in decline for humanity.
Is in decline for humanity. And it's it's just, and I've read a lot of books where it's just painting a grim picture. And also, to be fair, everyone's always felt like that.
Yeah.
Everyone's always felt like in 100 years, man, I don't want to be around.
Well, and the things move and change so fast too. And we've seen such drastic change in our environment and weather patterns and all these things that are it really negatively impacting humanity and our ability to survive. So a lot of us existing now already feel unsafe, and it only feels like it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
That being said, I also believe that our generation has so much power and so much connectivity that past generations haven't had now that we have the internet. And we
Sure.
have more resources and more ability and more technology than ever to make changes, to make things more sustainable, to, I don't know that reversing damage is possible. But with COVID, when everything shut down, everybody not driving everywhere, planes not going everywhere for a while, the environment improved significantly in a short period of time. We just need to make these changes and be able to stick to them. But the older generations are, from my point of view, very set in their way that there's no other way to do things. We got to only use fossil fuels. We got to all drive to and from, commute to and from our 40-hour-a-week job. And like that, it doesn't need to be that way.
No.
We don't have to live that way. These are all constructs that we've built for ourselves, and it's killing humanity.
Yeah.
We can, and I think we will have a significant change in our lifetimes. Either we will decline to a point of humanity is not going to be able to survive, or huge catalysts and changes will happen that catapult us in a different direction.
Yeah, I'm pretty cynical when it comes to that.
I always have been too.
Like long term, like 100 to 400 years, I'm like, I don't think this shit's gonna be going well. And I'm like, is it even ethical to bring a kid into the world into that?
I agree.
But then I also think, what's so special about my kid? Why can't they experience the end of the world? Why not? Why can't they be burned alive?
Yeah, we didn't ask to be born into this either.
Why, if I have a biological kid, what makes them so special that they can't, drown when the seas rise? Like, what's so special? Who cares? Someone's going to. If it's not my kid, it's another kid, and that's still sad. So fuck it. I'm gonna have a bunch of kids, and they're all gonna,
if you want that,
they're all gonna be, the fucking, the fascist military is gonna come and kill them, or the sun's gonna fall and burn up the planet, and it's like, that's what you get. Sorry, our generation got a bunch of debt and shitty system that doesn't care about us, and my kids is gonna have their shit, and it's like, that's just kind of how it goes. No one's making it out of this alive, so who cares how you die? I don't know.
Well, I've always, I would say 6 months to a year ago, I was on the same page as you, as being very cynical and thinking like, I don't even know if I'm going to live another 50 years. Like, I don't know if anyone's going to be around. But I honestly feel like I've seen and experienced so much collective healing and growth in our generation that I do feel like I see a possibility of improvement. I don't know if it's going to be possible, and especially the way things are now, and with a lot of boomers still in charge and really trying to keep things the same. If we keep things the same, we know what's going to happen. We already know where we're going. So we need drastic, significant change for any kind of improvement. And if we're able to heal on a collective level, as I feel like we have been, and I think COVID was a big catalyst for that.
Sure.
I do see possibility of things changing and a world that we can't even imagine.
You're right. I can't imagine it.
Right.
We're all going to die.
Yeah. And that could very well be true. But I am of the mindset of expect the worst, but hope for the best. And I'm prepared that I might not reach the end of my natural lifespan because of environmental factors.
We'll probably be all right.
Yeah. Who knows?
We're American.
Yeah.
We'll fuck up the rest of the world just so we can survive.
We'll see what happens.
And I'm hopeful about that. That's why I'm hopeful. That's why I'm like, we'll probably be fine because we're like the richest country. We got bombs and shit. We'll be all right. But then,
honestly, my biggest concern is not that humanity is going to end via environmental factors. We're going to have more and more discomfort as time goes on, more life-threatening things happening. But I think that. Wow, I just completely dropped that thought. Hold on. Oh, yes. What I was going to say is I don't think it's going to be the environment that kills us. I think it's going to be humans killing humans over limited resources.
But yeah, who knows?
I guess we'll see.
We will see. But listen. I think we missed this we lost this, but in the movie Everything Everywhere and All at Once that we saw last night, that was really good.
Yeah.
And it the thing I liked about it was so it was a bit on the nose, which I liked that it was on the nose, because I don't want to think a lot in a movie. And it was on the nose where it's like, when we're faced with chaos, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna just say fuck it and destroy everything, or are we gonna try to be kind anyway? The fucking, I mean, that was there's spoilers for the movie. What are you gonna do? That was sort of like a philosophical dilemma of the movie.
Yeah.
And at least we have that. We can be kind to each other as we fall into the abyss.
Yeah, and my hope is that if we do get to a point where we're all suffering because of the environment we live in, at least it wouldn't be hell if we could come together as a community and support each other and be kind and love each other. Like, if we all have to die and it's going to suck, like, I'd rather go out with us, being as joyful as we possibly can in the worst of circumstances together, and rather than just like fighting over things. But I also know that humans have a very strong survival instinct, and when it gets down to a matter of food and water and air and that kind of stuff, like, we're gonna have to fight for our ability to survive. And that's the thing, is like, you're faced with death, and that can lead people to do all kinds of things. So if we can grow beyond that fear and be there for ourselves and each other, then it might not be so bad.
What I hope for is, I don't think any sort of, some sort of political revolution, and not like rise up pitchfork sort of a thing, but just sort of a deeper sort of like realignment of values globally.
Yes.
I feel like that would have to start with some sort of like spiritual revolution, or some
Absolutely.
sort of like,
I think we're going through that now.
Yeah, I think J. Cole said it best. He's like, what did he say? He was like, you can only change, the change starts inside of you, sort of thing. He said it better. It's on the song Changes. Go listen to it. But be
the change you want to see in the world, etc.
No, he said it cooler. But Mahatma Gandhi,
if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then you make a change. Yeah, exactly.
That was one good thing he did.
Yeah. That
was that song. But yeah, I think if there's some sort of spiritual revolution where we can all sort of get on the same page about stuff, that would be great. I don't know how that would happen. I think a lot of people need to die for that to happen.
Well, I think that COVID sort of was a catalyst for this, because a lot of people did die, and a lot of us had to take a lot of time to reflect and recognize that at the end of the day, when things get bad and you're alone, you have to take care of yourself. And so this collective healing that has to happen, you're right, I don't think it's going to be a pitchforks and like, destroy the establishment, although that could definitely happen. I think that in order for change to happen, we all have to focus on healing ourselves on an individual level before we can accomplish anything.
Yeah.
And if everybody just took that mindset and said, okay, I'm just going to work on myself and be the best person I can be, then the world would be a much fucking better place, rather than us just being like, oh, well, I'm a victim and everything's just trash, and well, I guess I'll just be a fucking shithead because what else is there to do? Like, no, we all got to have that integrity to say, I'm gonna live my best life possible. And if we all did that, then maybe there would be some fucking change.
I think, listen, people, we gotta meditate, we gotta take mushrooms,
gotta meditate, masturbate, take mushrooms.
Call your mother, she misses you. And that feels like an end. How you feeling?
Pretty good.
I feel like we were going real dark, and I was like, we gotta get out of this. We can't just end on like, and then the world will all die slowly.
Expect the worst, hope for the best, work on yourself. Change starts from within. Let's all heal, guys.
Let's fucking do it. Listen,
let's just send it.
Do you got anything you want to say?
I love you.
I
love you, world.
Come check you out at the club.
For sure, you can always do that. I work in Portland. I'm thinking about moving here to Austin. I work online as well. I have an Instagram and stuff, and I actually call myself in my bio, I call myself a healing artist, because that's what I am here to do. That's my goal, is to heal and to help others heal, which I do. I try to do by leading by example. I don't try to force anyone into healing. I just try to live my best life and be happy. And when people are like, how do you do it? Then I'm like, oh, well, I just have been doing the work of trying to heal. And part of how I do that is through my work and through dancing and helping people heal sexual guilt and trauma and all that stuff. So my goal is to just help people love themselves.
Beautiful. Through the art of strippy dancing.
Yes,
That's
tantric
beautiful.
art.
Hell yeah, do it. Well, thanks for coming, Liv.
Yeah.
I
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it. It was great talking to you. I'm glad we got to make this happen before you left.
Yeah.
And then if you're coming back in like June, July, then I'm sure we'll hang out again.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks everybody.
Yes, cheers.
Bye bye.